I'm fortunate enough to have accumulated a bunch of machines over the past year or so. It's been great, and why is that relevant to this video? It's relevant because the MPC One has really caught my attention over and above all the other gear that I've received this year. And I really think that it boils down to 3 reasons. I'm a drummer, and so I have a very rhythmic approach to music, and finger drumming kind of just takes me back into that realm. I have a newfound love for using samples, and the MPC is designed exactly for that. I'm also a heavy DAW user, and the MPC One basically has its own DAW built into it. The workflow sort of encourages you to perform your parts in instead of clicking them in with a mouse on a computer DAW, which I just find to be way more exciting. I'm really excited to make a house beat with this thing. LK, MPC One, let's do it. I'm currently on the main page here, and we can organize this beat onto one kit. So hit Assign Samples, Browse. We're gonna head over to Drums. We're gonna use one of the stock kits. Search House. We have a bunch of options here, and there's some cute little examples of each of them. I'm pretty sure that's the one I used in the original, so let's go with that one. Load, and now it's loaded. So we already have a lot of variety here. I know right off the bat that this top right pad, I'm just not going to use that. So we will be replacing it. Go back to Assign Samples. We're going to go back to Browse, Places. Now we have access to the sounds that we've saved on our SD card. Mine is boringly named EOS Digital, and this is this is where the sample that I want to use is saved. So let's give these a listen. That's the one. One thing to make sure of is that you're replacing the right pad. So sample assign, top right. So you would go back here, load. It's good stuff! So the next step is to chop up this sample, which brings us to sample edit. With all of the samples on each of these pads, you could hit sample edit, and there's the sample. We want to make sure that we're on the top right here, sample edit. Now, if we want to get into some really precise chopping, we could use these knobs here. But with a sample like this, where the transients are just very clearly marked, we could go to chop, head to threshold. Immediately, there's a new configuration on the pads. You can see that these ones are lit up, and it's chopped between these pads. We have the convenient option of being able to bounce these pads onto a kit. Hit Shift, Convert, Non-Destructive Slice, do it. Go back to main, hit Drum Program, and there it is. Just a bit of insight on how this machine is already changing my workflow. Like that. I stream live on Twitch and focus mainly on my DAW. After using the MPC One for just a bit, already I feel like I'm losing that performance aspect when I'm programming drums into my DAW. So I could definitely see myself incorporating the MPC One into my Twitch sessions. It's just too much fun. Also, if you're interested in joining us on Twitch, I've left a link for that in the description. We'll take a look at the rhythmic aspect of this chord pattern. We basically have 3 chords. If you want to change the pitch of one of these and create a 4th chord, we could just head to Warp Samples. Make sure you're on the right pad. Head to LFO Modulation, Pitch. It's kind of hard to tell if it's perfectly in pitch, but we're just doing this by ear. That sounds about right. I'm gonna take a shot at this. That's automatically quantized as well, which is nice. I'm happy with that performance. Let's take a look at drums. We'll be using 2 tracks for drums, so one that's pre-programmed and another one where I could just finger drum. Back to tracks here, we're gonna go to unused, name it drums. I'm not crazy about these drums. Let's upload another kit here. I think there's like a Detroit kit that's really nice, this one. Let's do that. Loving that clap. These can make for some nice little background percussions. So here, we're just gonna throw down 2 and 4 snare. Here we go. 2, 3, and. I decided to perform that whole thing in. If you wanted to, go shift main, and there's a grid here where you could just program the notes in like a DAW. Let's audition these toms. There's a little tricky thing here. Make sure you hit overdub and play start instead of record. If you hit record, it erases your previous performance from that track, whereas if you hit overdub, you're just overdubbing extra parts onto that track. Let's do it. 2, 3, and. Once again, if you want to move things over, hit shift main, go back to the grid, and you could move things around if you want, erase things. The option is yours. So I'm happy with that thus far, which brings us to the next step, finger drumming. As I mentioned before, I like to have 2 drum tracks. So what we just laid down, which is like the supporting quantized rhythm. And then the second track is a little bit more open. It's me experimenting and finger drumming. A lot of this depends on what you're going for, but I encourage you to experiment with adding different parts to the track. Maybe you want to add kick. Maybe you just want to plug one thing in at a time. With the MPC, you have both options, which is nice. But for me, I'm definitely more of a performer, sitting at home, alone in my studio all day, desperate to let my inner performer out every once in a while. Oh, let's do this. This is my rhythmic approach to music and my approach to the MPC One. Hopefully this video gave you guys some insight on how to use the MPC One, lo-fi house style. Reminder that I stream twice a week on Twitch, and the best way of keeping track of when I go live is through my Discord. Links to both of those are in the description. If you'd like to see more of this old face, you know what to do. Hit thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. MPC One or any electronic music machine tip of the day, this. I'm not sure why, but the MPC One in particular seems to attract a lot of dust, so this is the best way to get rid of it. Sweeping motions to get rid of all that dust. That's all. Thanks for watching.